Okay, so good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody here to today and to thank our special guests, Governor Charlie Baker, Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito, Secretary of Labour and Workforce Development for Massachusetts, Rosalin Acosta. We also have Michael Qualter, the Division Chief at the U.S. Department of Labour, and we're pleased to have the CEO of MassBiod, Sunny Schwartz, and many of her team. And last but not least, our apprentices who were here to celebrate. Pamela, Naomi, and Barry. One of our apprentices, unfortunately, couldn't be with us today. So we are here today to celebrate the 7th Annual National Apprenticeship Week and the MassBiod apprenticeship program for biomanufacturing technicians and for clinical trial associates. And really, congratulations to MassBiod for the enormous effort it's been to launch this program. So Arranta Bio is a proud sponsor of the Biomanufacturing Technicians Apprenticeship, and we're pleased to participate in the training and career development of 4 apprentices this year, and we've already committed to 4 additional apprentices for 2022. Arranta Bio is a contract manufacturer of complex biopharmaceuticals that are used to target microbiome-related diseases such as infectious diseases, inflammatory diseases, neurological diseases, and cancers, many diseases as you can hear, but also now working on messenger RNA products. Yes, the same technology that Pfizer and Moderna used so successfully to bring us a COVID vaccine now are being used to address other infectious diseases and cancers, and we're pleased to support that. We're doing that work here in our Watertown facility, but we're also adding a facility in Boxborough, Massachusetts. In total, we have spent $100 million in the last 2 years building this capability, and we've committed another $50 million that will be spent by the middle of next year. I would like to thank Governor Baker for his leadership during the pandemic and the considered science-based safety precautions that allowed us to work with the town of Watertown and continue the building of this facility so that we didn't lose a single day in the construction program and we didn't have a single case of COVID infection. We know how to build state-of-the-art facilities. However, building facilities alone is not enough. What we also have to do is to build a team and build the passion and expertise to make a difference for patients. Today we have over 160 employees, and we'll add another 100 through the end of next year. We're committed to expand access to life sciences careers by partnering with MassBiod, as well as other organizations such as Year Up and Flair Education. The goal is to strengthen life sciences education and workforce development to provide a pathway for more people to pursue meaningful career opportunities in life sciences and to embrace diverse cultural perspectives that inspire creativity and drive innovation. It gives me great pleasure to invite Governor Baker to speak with us about the importance of this National Apprenticeship Week and the MassBiod program. Thank you.
So first of all, to Mark and the team at Arranta Bio, I want to thank you all for giving us a chance to take a walk through this remarkable facility and learn a little bit about the role you're playing in the hunt and solution when it comes to so many different illnesses and diseases. And as Mark was walking us through and we were getting a sense on what a microbiome was, the fact that there's trillions of them inside and outside your body, and that in many cases they are a unique opportunity to not just destroy diseases when possible, but to actually help people use their own body and their own codes to figure out how to take down illnesses and diseases that historically, in many cases, our primary approach had either been to try to destroy them along with all sorts of other parts of your humanity, but or in other cases to simply try to control the growth of the problem. And I think this is a classic example of what I would describe as the changing nature of biotechnology and life sciences generally, which is the toolbox is getting bigger and stronger and better as the cost of discovery has continued to change and as people learn more and more things about how they can solve problems that at one point in time were considered to be either just too big, too complicated, or not enough was known about where to even begin. And I think in some ways there's an enormous opportunity here for Massachusetts to go from being one of the most important life science centers in the world to becoming the most important life science center on the globe. And when I hear my colleagues in the biotech world in the life science world talk about the fact that there's already about 20 to 25 million square feet of lab space that's currently permitted and in many cases under construction, and that there might be the same 20 to 25 million square feet of lab space either under development or being seriously considered, and the job opportunity that's associated with this, which is somewhere between 50 and 70,000 jobs over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, there's a huge opportunity here. But the biggest challenge, in addition to the supply chain stuff, which hopefully will work itself out, will end up being, by tomorrow, will be many of the issues associated with talent and skill building and credentialing. And while we have been pretty good as a country and as a Commonwealth on apprenticeship programs that involve the trades, we've never really thought very hard or been very good at apprenticeship programs that get into other spaces, places, industries, and opportunities. And over the course of the past couple of years, and really, you know, this sort of started before the pandemic, and we were kind of on a runway, and then COVID, and we're just starting to get back to the sort of trajectory we had with respect to creating apprenticeship opportunities in a lot of different spaces. And this is where MassBiod comes in. It's been a great partner in helping us figure out how to run apprenticeship programs in this fast-growing, very exciting industry that's looking for people who want to grow with their businesses. And the combination of state funding associated with working on apprenticeship programs, federal funding associated with opportunities to work in this environment, and a growing belief that you can run apprenticeship programs in a lot of different industries than historically people thought we could, creates real possibility for people who are interested in getting into this industry or people who are interested in making a career change. And I do believe that once the dust settles on the big ARPA package that the legislature is working on, we will have the kind of resources that will make it possible for us to turbocharge the work we do in the apprentice environment. And I certainly believe that this industry in particular has already created a lot of the infrastructure that's necessary to really move the ball on this one. And we're looking forward to having a very big and very important and very successful partnership with apprenticeship models generally with the life science industry as we go forward here in the Commonwealth and create a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunity for a lot of people who may not have thought that this was a place where there would be an opportunity for them to play historically. So I'm very excited to be here to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. I'm excited to be here to announce the almost $3 million in grants to 16 different organizations that are part of this MassBiod effort of ours. And I'm very excited to be able to say to the folks at Arranta Bio how much we appreciate your participation in this. And this is a proclamation here in the Commonwealth, which I'm not going to read. It was really nice. My team actually gave it to me in a printing I could actually read, as opposed to the one that's on the page. But what I would just say is this is a proclamation declaring this Massachusetts Apprenticeship Week, and we, of course, are very excited about this. And Mark, because of your role and your participation in this and your willingness to host us all today, you get the proclamation. So, thank you. And with that, I will turn it over to Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito, who spends a lot of time working on this stuff.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here at Arranta Bio in Watertown. I feel walking through your building, your facility, is a very big honor. What you're doing here, as one of you described, is God's work. I look into the labs and the state-of-the-art equipment, but I see in the people working on this equipment a mission and a drive to do the work that you know will help solve some of these worldwide problems that affect people's health and well-being and unlock the potential to either prevent or treat and give people the longer life that they need and want and deserve. So what you're doing here is pretty darn special, and it's an honor to be with you here today, Mark, and with your team. At the same time, we have an enormous responsibility as a Commonwealth because our economy is largely tailored to innovation. 40% of our economy is somehow tied to life sciences, advanced manufacturing, clean energy, AI, automation, all of those kinds of things, which means that we need to not only invest in physical places like this, but also invest in people. The people are the driving force behind unlocking those solutions to some of the big problems plaguing the world today and the problems that we don't even know exist, but that you're starting to develop the treatments and therapies for. For us here in the Commonwealth, we spend a lot of time on STEM education. So it starts early. We want to start helping young people. I went to a Head Start program, for instance, during STEM Week a few weeks back, trying to instill early on that ability to problem solve, think creatively, not be afraid to try things, and learn from trying and failing and starting over again. And building on that through the curriculum and the opportunities through elementary, middle school, and high school. But while we create these educational opportunities, we also need to create these workplace opportunities so that students can literally see themselves in a lab like here at Arranta. And they can literally understand at the beginning of their high school experience, if they add up these kinds of courses, they can see themselves in a workplace or in a community college or at a four-year college beyond that. And that you don't need to be a PhD to be part of the innovation economy in Massachusetts. We need people with certificates and credentials and abilities all across that spectrum of work. And the apprenticeship is a piece of that. Mentorships, internships, apprenticeships. Give those students, either adults or students coming through their educational experience as a young learner, the opportunity to try it out. It's a great opportunity for the student to see if this is something that they can be successful at, and it's an incredible opportunity for an employer to understand if this person is the right person for our team to lead us forward. The one thing I feel leaving here today is this enormous sense of responsibility with you. As the governor said, particularly in the life science area, we're building out all of this lab space, but every single lab space needs a talented person to do the work. And in order for us to continue to hold that mantle as a life science mecca, we need to have this talent pipeline fueled with people and with these abilities and opportunities. So what you're doing here is great, it's necessary, and we're going to learn from how you do it so that we can expand it all across the workplaces in our Commonwealth. And through that experience, we will continue to lead, solve problems, and make life better, not only for the people of this Commonwealth and country, but for people around the world. So thank you for inviting us into your space here today, and thank you for inviting students from Year Up and other programs to have this amazing experience with you. Keep up your great work, and thank you. And with that, we celebrate Apprenticeship Week, and I'd like to now turn it over to Secretary Acosta.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, Governor Mark. Thank you for inviting us here today. I am so thrilled to be here celebrating Apprenticeship Week. I think it's, let me just take this off, sorry. I think it's one of the programs and one of the initiatives that I'm most excited about, certainly in our Secretariat. And the Governor's right, we started this initiative way before the pandemic. This Apprenticeship Expansion Initiative was actually started about 4.5 years ago And we were really taking a page from our friends in the trades. They have been doing apprenticeship programs forever, and they've been doing it so well, and they bring so many people into occupations that folks may not even have thought that they could do. So we thought that, look, this is such a great program. We need to expand this to other industries. And as we did our regional planning process, we said, what are the industries in Massachusetts that really need the most help? And so we had isolated those to manufacturing and IT, healthcare, finance, and the life sciences. So I'm thrilled that we're here today celebrating 2 new apprenticeship tracks for the bio industry. And as the Lieutenant Governor said, I mean, this really is an opportunity to bring in folks that may never have seen themselves in STEM and really give them an opportunity to open their eyes into an incredibly lucrative occupation. And I honestly do believe that it's a great equalizer of opportunity. Apprenticeship programs allow you to learn and earn at the same time. And most folks cannot afford to pay for training on their own at night, after doing their job. They got to go home and take care of their family, and to sit on a computer from 6 to 10 o'clock is very difficult. This allows someone to really have the opportunity to learn this new skill while they're earning money, so they don't have to get distracted in doing other work. They just can focus on the job at hand. I am very, very thrilled to be here. And so we've launched 2 different apprenticeship programs here, the Clinical Trial Associates and the Biomanufacturing Technicians. And this was done with our Division of Apprenticeship Standards, where we helped write the curriculum along with MassBiod. And we also formally registered these apprenticeship programs. So we all know that this pandemic has hit us in very unequal ways, and we know that the inequities of this pandemic have been very painful. But I think this is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for us, again, to equalize some of the inequities that we've seen. When we look at our mass unemployment rate, we know that our Latino population has been hit the hardest, and our unemployment rate for Latinos is at 11%. For blacks, it's at 9% compared to whites at 5.7%. We also know that the unemployment data through the pandemic showed consistently that women were above 50% of our claimants. And when the pandemic-related federal unemployment benefits ended in September, more than 300,000 people fell off unemployment benefits, and again, over 50% of those were women. So the apprenticeship program that we have today, I'm very proud to say that we have 30 apprentices. 19 are female, 10 black, 6 Hispanic, and 2 Asian. And these numbers show us that we're really progressing and we're focusing on the right folks. So as the governor said, we have $240 million in the ARPA plan going through the legislature right now. Apprenticeships are a big part of that. And I'm really looking forward to getting on the other side of all of that so that we can put that money here in the hands of those folks that are really going to help us train the workforce of tomorrow. So, and with that, I want to turn this over to Sunny Schwartz. Sunny is the CEO of the MassBiod, and also very well known to us in the Commonwealth. She was formerly with us in the Mass Hire System. So now she says she likes her job a lot more. I don't know why. There you go, Sunny.
Thank you, Secretary Acosta. We're so honored to be here today with Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito and Secretary Acosta to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week. And we're also really grateful for the support, for your support and the support from the Commonwealth for MassBiod's Life Science Apprenticeship Program. We launched this program earlier this year, and this is really MassBiod's first foray into training adults to get into life sciences careers. And I couldn't be more excited about this program. And I was just telling the Lieutenant Governor, in all my years, not to date myself, but more than 20 years working in workforce development in Massachusetts, this is the most I've seen employers invested in a program like this, in a pre-employment job training program. So the employers are paying a substantial amount towards the cost of training. They're also paying the apprentices a stipend while they're in training so that they can afford to work less and study more. And the employers are extending an offer to the apprentices before they start training, so then the placement rate is 100%. And these are great jobs with great benefits and awesome career potential. So part of MassBiod's mission is to diversify the workforce and to offer opportunities to people who may not have had that opportunity for a life sciences career. And we've done just that with this program. You just heard from the secretary. Of all the biomanufacturing apprentices this year, 63% are people of color, and 84% did not have a bachelor's degree. These are adults who are transitioning into this field. The average age is 33. And then our employer partners also shifted their hiring practices by hiring the apprentices directly rather than through a staffing agency. So I want to thank Arranta Bio and our 14 other employer partners for rethinking how they approach hiring and being open to hiring people with the attitude and aptitude for the jobs rather than the traditional educational credentials. So in addition to Mark Bamforth, I want to thank Melanie Cerullo and Jenna Heyman at Arranta Bio, both who volunteered a lot for the program. And then it's my pleasure to introduce Pamela Tusim, who is currently a manufacturing apprentice at Arranta Bio. First, I just wanted to note our other apprentices who are here, Naomi Williams and Barry Moody. I saw Barry earlier. Back there, you want to wave? Well, you guys stand up. Naomi, stand up. And Barry. Pamela's speaking today, and then, as Mark alluded to, we have another apprentice, Kavina, who couldn't be here today. So Pamela's background really demonstrates a great example of someone who could both really benefit from this program and someone who has a lot to offer a life sciences company. She studied biology, chemistry, and physics in high school in Uganda, and she ran her own company there. But when she came to the US in 2018, Pamela worked in retail jobs, and she knew that she could offer more and use her skills better. So also, I want to commend Pamela because she had perfect attendance during the program. She never missed a day in 5 months. We couldn't be prouder of Pamela and all of the MassBiod Life Sciences Program apprentices who finished their training on October 22nd and are now on the job. So Pamela. Yes. Thank you.
Sorry.
I got it.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
I'm sorry I don't know English and I need an interpreter right now. I'm kidding. Governor Baker and staff, Secretary of Labor Acosta, CEO Arranta Bio, Mark Bamforth, CEO MassBiod, Sunny Swans, distinguished guests, good morning. My name is Pamela Tusim from Uganda, East Africa. I am honored to be here and working at Arranta Bio as a biomanufacturing technician. I would say I'm very, very, very blessed. In Kampala, Uganda, I earned an advanced high school diploma in physics, biology, chemistry, and art, a diploma in information technology, a bachelor's in industrial fine arts, non-finance, but arts. When I came to the United States in 2018, I volunteered at Senior Center, Chelmsford, where I met beautiful ladies and gentlemen that really touched my heart. That's the first place I got candy. The reason I got candy at that place, so we used to play bingo, Uno. So whoever would win bingo, Uno, we would offer them a candy, and that would be only one piece. So there was a lady by the name Marjorie. She would always keep the candy for me. I felt loved and welcome to United States. That he gave me the energy to yearn to make sure I add value to the community and I make a difference in people's lives. That I'll forever be grateful for that opportunity of someone showing me love. When I came to the United States, I've done several jobs. I've worked at Dunkin's Donut, American runs on Dunkin's. I've worked at Starbucks. I've worked at Whole Foods, making sure that you have organic foods, non-GMOs, that I got more knowledge than I had way before coming to the United States, because in Uganda, most of the foods are organic. Interestingly, so the chemicals and the GMOs that are being used in different countries, in Uganda, they're very, very expensive. So I would say, like killing banana weevils for plantains or bananas, you would mix urine that you have kept for 21 days, chili, that's a red pepper, and then that's when you could like kill those kind of like bacteria or fungus or archaea that would be like damaging the crops. So basically the vegetables and the foods are all organic, interestingly. I worked for Wegmans, and that's when I got ushered to MassBiod through JVS Boston. Thank you, MassBiod. MassBiod reopened my closed door to science. I feel like I'm living my dream. It ushered me to Northeastern, where Northeastern enriched me with knowledge on how to know and how to act and how to face the biotech world. Thank you, Northeastern. Thank you, MassBiod. Thank you, Arranta, for paying my tuition. Not only that, MassBiod has offered mentors that will help me along the way. They've given me soft skills that when I have hurdles at work, I know how to overcome. With a smile, killing people with passion and love. MassBiod has helped all apprentices, not only me. The likes of Naomi, Barry, Kevina, Oscar. There's so many different apprentices in Pfizer, Analium, Bristol Myers, and Mass Biologics. Thank you, MassBiod. I'm now on my career path with the goal to get to a position of influence that I can make a difference and add value to the United States. I'm living the American dream, guys. Thank you all. God bless America.
Before I take questions, I just want to thank Governor's Counselor from Watertown, Marilyn Devaney, for being with us today. Thanks for joining us. On topic first, for any of us, including the feds? Off topic?
Infrastructure. Do you have any pet programs that you'd like to see some of that money go to?
Yeah, so the figuring out exactly how much is actually going to be available to the Commonwealth through the infrastructure bill will take us a little while to sort out, because about 40% of it is competitive. In other words, the money's there and it's available, but you have to bid on it, and that's categorical as well. So there may be some categories where we're less interested and other categories where we're more interested. But there's probably somewhere in the vicinity of $7 to $8 billion of the total that's what we would call formula money. And that formula money usually requires some kind of a state match, but it's a program we understand and we've operated with for the for a very long time. And they cover everything from broadband to water to roads to rail to bridges to transit. And as we go through the process of figuring out where our best and most significant opportunities are with that, we'll make some decisions about where it would be most appropriately applied. But the large message coming from us on this one is that this is a necessary piece of federal legislation. States will be able to do a lot of good things with this, many of which are overdue, and that we expect and anticipate that we'll be able to make some very important and critical infrastructure investments around the Commonwealth over the next 5 or 6 years because of it, and we're very excited about it.
Are there requirements for that money? Does it have to be spent, or can you funnel it into like rainy day funds?
Oh, no, you need to spend it on the stuff that it's categorically associated with. You don't have to bid on the competitive stuff if you choose not to, but obviously we're going to be pretty aggressive about bidding on that.
So I know there was an announcement yesterday that the Shattuck facility in J2 is going to be used to help with the massive pest crisis. So I was just curious, what you think in terms of long-term solutions for both the Shattuck facility and for massive pest. Is that seen as a long-term plan or no?
Yeah. We've obviously been working with the city for almost a couple of months now on a variety of approaches to help the folks on Mass and Cass find their way into treatment or housing or some combination of both. And we've been also working with the city now for a couple of years on a plan of how to most appropriately use the Shattuck campus going forward. And that will be part of the way we think about it. The Shattuck campus has been home to a variety of programs over the course of 40 or 50 years now that have provided necessary and critical services to people who are dealing with all kinds of issues and problems. And like I said, we've been working with the city on developing a plan that we think works for them, works for us. And certainly I believe that part of that plan going forward will involve a continued focus on treatment and homelessness, which has been a big part of what the Shattuck campus has been about since the beginning.
So do you see it as a long-term solution or a temporary?
I think what we're doing at this point in time I would describe as a temporary approach. But like I said, the long-term approach to dealing with the future of the Shattuck campus will continue to include solutions for people who are homeless and people who are looking for treatment.
Governor, you mentioned the ARPA bill that's making its way to your desk. It has $500 million in it for the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund. But it's a little unclear whether that fund needs the money or not, or how much it needs. What do you know about that right now?
So, first of all, whether or not the Unemployment Insurance Trust Fund needs the $500 million is not debatable. It does, okay? In the middle of the greatest economic expansion in state history back in 2019, when our unemployment rate was 2%, we had a $2 billion balance in our trust fund. $2 billion, that was our balance. And there were a lot of people who were concerned that it wasn't enough. And there was a big debate with the feds, with the legislature, with our people about what the right balance in the unemployment trust fund was. But nobody was suggesting you should run the thing month to month on a zero balance basis. Nobody. So whether or not the trust fund needs that $500 million is not debatable. It does. The bigger question is how much, in addition to that, should the Commonwealth borrow based on the legislation that we got from the legislature, which was really important, to deal with the deficit in the fund on a go-forward basis to ensure that the business community doesn't have to absorb the impact of that deficit all at once. Now, question number one, what is the right balance that we should be shooting for? That's part of the question we need to figure out with the treasurer and with the feds and with some other folks to decide how much we should borrow. The second question we have to figure out with respect to how much we should borrow is what our short and long-term projections are with respect to both revenue and expenses. And we need to figure out exactly, with all the puts and takes on $24 billion that have gone back and forth between the state and the feds over the course of this pandemic, what's the right number we should assume we're starting with when we borrow that money, probably sometime in December. But the idea that we don't need the $500 million is just wrong.
Last question.
Is there a deficit in the fund?
Yes, absolutely.
But we don't know how much it is?
No, what we don't know is how big a balance we should carry going forward, and that is a policy call. You know, if you listen to the debate that took place in the legislature, people in the legislature are saying you should run this thing on a zero balance, that every month the goal should be to just get to zero. No one thinks that makes sense. So at a minimum, you would have to borrow $2 billion just to get to the point where you had a balance that looked something like the one that we had in 2019 on a go-forward basis. There's no question that that fund, that we're going to have to borrow money to support that fund, and that fund needs that $500 million, and that would be a wonderful thing to do for a business community that's still struggling to get back on its feet.
Thanks, everyone.
How quickly do you think those infrastructure funds are going to get out the door?
The ones from the feds or the ones in the ARPA bill? The feds? You know, I hate to make predictions on that sort of thing because part of it will depend on a variety of federal approvals, and in some cases, the work that's associated with, will we be able to apply this to work that's already on our federal schedule, or are we going to need to create additional projects that would be applied to this? But I certainly think our goal will be to have it on the street, to have some of it on the street by the spring construction season.
Thanks, everyone.
And thanks again to Arranta Bio for having us here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.